What's up, everybody? I'm Javier Reyes of Animals as Leaders.
Beautiful, Javier. Thanks for joining us today.
Right on. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Animals as Leaders will be in Australia very soon for a run of shows starting in Perth on April the 16th before going through Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney and finishing in Brisbane on April 21st. So, are you packed and ready to go yet?
Not at all.
Fair call.
I wait to the last minute.
So, how do you actually like prepare mentally for a run of shows like this? Like, I know it's not a long run of shows, but you're a long way from home in a strange country. So, you sort of, is there any set preparation you go through?
Just phone, keys, and wallet.
Hold the basics.
phone, phone, keys, and wallet. Passport. That's about it. Couple. Make sure you have enough strings, enough guitars, and
Just another day at the office.
hope the turbulence isn't too bad. That's about it.
Very cool. So, but once you get in there, like what can we expect from your live shows? Have you got anything different to last time you're out here?
I mean, there's a bunch of new music that we'll be playing. That's about, that'll probably be the highlight. Other than that, we just look older.
Yeah, I know that.
About it. Probably have more white hair than the last time I was there.
Well, lights can fix that.
But yeah, I mean, we don't. It's not like we have any pyrotechnics, unfortunately. So the highlight will be just the new material. Maybe we'll headbang a little harder. That's about it.
Very cool. And you mentioned you're touring off the back of last year's album, Parrhesia. So how's the reaction been to that one?
So far it's been great. You know, I think even the way the songs are translating live are great. For us, it's exciting to play this new material. And the crowd response to the new material has been pretty awesome. So I'm excited to kind of go experience that in Australia.
We'll discuss this in a bit greater detail later, but like each of your albums has seen an evolution of the band's sound. So does it make it difficult to create a flowing set list, like drawing from albums with sort of different material on it?
Yeah, I mean, we generally start off with a set list, and it's not uncommon for us to kind of make changes as we go. You know, what we thought would be a cool opener, sometimes we end up switching out for something else. Yeah, it also depends on where we're at, traveling for as many flights as we have to do on this one tour. Sometimes it makes it difficult to be able to bring all the guitars we need for a certain set, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, considering we haven't been there in such a long time, there is a new material. We tend to focus the material, at least the set list, on new material and sprinkle some of the fan favorites throughout.
And the press release calls Animals as Leaders one of the most exciting and boundary pushing acts in the world of heavy music. Like, well, what do they actually mean by boundary pushing, you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's a bit of, we're a prog metal band, but we don't sound like all metal bands, and we don't sound like all prog bands. So I think that's kind of, at least when I think of boundary pushing, it's that, it's thinking outside the box, being able to kind of make an identifiable sound, which I think is hard for a lot of bands to do. Fortunately for us, we've been able to do that. At least when we first started, there wasn't that many, instrumental prog bands playing 8-string, guitar. And luckily, we've been able to kind of capture or capitalize on that, and kind of essentially make a little scene, if you will, of bands like that. So I think that's what pushing boundaries means. Also being able to like go between genres as far as who we perform with, bands that we go on tour with, etc. I mean, we just in the fall here we did a run where it was us and Incubus, followed by us and Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage, followed by us and Alluvial. So I mean, it was pretty broad as far as what was happening on stage and who we were playing with. apparently it works out. So
It's the main thing. So when it comes to creating music and pushing those boundaries and sort of blending the genres, like how do you actually know how far to push? Like, how do you know when you've gone too far maybe and it probably might not work?
I, I, I don't know. I don't know if going too far has ever been like a concern. I think if anything, that's how far can we go from it, you know? And it's almost like how far can we go with it, but still retain, you know, the metal side of it or the prog side of it. I mean, we're all. I mean, I probably listen to more music outside of metal than I do in metal. My guess would be the same as for my bandmates. But metal is the platform where we exist. Metal is the avenue where our music kind of is allowed to be able to be featured. You know, particularly being guitar players. And then with Matt, with his style of drumming, metal allows us to just exhibit everything that we like in our instruments, do it in an aggressive manner, but still be able to be creative. I don't know if I
Sounds
finished,
perfect sense, brother. Along those lines, man, like one of the great things about Animals as leaders is you transcend audiences with people from metalheads to aspiring virtuosos to jazz fanatics to the casual listeners, still finding something to connect with in your music. Like, is that something that's always been a focus of your music, or is it more a byproduct of what comes naturally?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think the three of us are pretty unique individuals, if you will. And like I said, we all listen to a variety of styles of music. So I think it comes natural to try to create something unique. I myself, when I listen to EDM, I don't care about listening to all the EDM artists. I just need the small handful of artists that I find interesting and find are doing cool, unique things. And that's across the board with any music, whether it's jazz, whether it's Latin music, whether it's metal. So if I'm constantly trying to listen to unique music, it almost just seems natural for when I do write for that to be the case as well. And I think that, you know, Tosin and I have known each other for a long time, and that's always kind of been the case, you know, for us. Part of why we're still friends, it's just like we just always have this attraction to unique styles of music. Yeah, we try to incorporate it. And I think also just, you know, a life goal hasn't necessarily been to just like be in a band and kind of rock out. It's more so like be a creator and some creator of something unique that kind of makes you identifiable, that kind of puts your, you know, your name in the history books, as opposed to just being like one of the thousands bands that came out during this one era, the one or two bands, there are three bands that kind of, you know, change the game up, sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, I think artistically that's just always been the goal. So we always want to keep pushing the envelope, but at the same time, that kind of comes natural. It's not like we're always trying to do something, you know, impossible. It's more so we just want to write something cool that has a unique sound to it.
You're also known for creating a wide range of emotions through your music. Like most people sort of generally relate emotions in music to a vocalist. So from your point of view as a musician, like how difficult is it to convey that emotion through just music?
I think in some ways that's kind of the beauty of music and instrumental music. I mean, there's a subliminal effect that music has on the listener that I think music with vocals kind of eliminates. And we focus on just the vocals, whether how the performance is or what the lyrical content is. Take, for instance, if you're watching a movie without any music, or if you switch the music to a certain horror film and you put, you know, happy music, it kind of changes the mood. So I don't necessarily find it difficult to express emotion. I think in metal in particular, metal is very centralized with very few emotions, you know, aggression, anger, that's, you know, or extreme. So when you incorporate that and you add the polar opposite, like what does the extreme thing sound like when you add something uplifting or something you know, mysterious or uneasy, if you will, then you can start coming up with all sorts of new feelings that you didn't know you had, or new things or new feelings that you weren't expecting, rather.
Right, man. Well, thanks very much for your time today, mate. The tour kicks off on April 16th in Perth. There's still tickets available through Destroy Your Lines, mate. So don't forget to pack your socks, and we'll see you over here in a week or so.